Righty. What is going on, chat? It is the 18th 18th of September and it is a Thursday, just about to be Friday in a couple of minutes. But I just wanted to go over my trade recap for today. I took two trades today. One I wasn't confident in, and the other was a great setup. So coming into the market, obviously Asia, we had a displacement down. I was like, okay, cool. London, we have the huge rip up, so I'm like, okay, cool. We're in when technically this was an order block before it became a breaker block, but um, yeah, coming into market opening, I was looking what kind of the order flow for today, right? Because you're only trying to catch a move, you know, you're only trying to catch like a 1 hour, 2 hour kind of printed candle move, if that makes sense. So in this case, we did have a um, we did have a breaker structure to the downside. Why is this? Technically, this can be the breaker structure as well, but to me, it's more like, okay, cool. We had a market structure shift here. We put in a low, we put in a high, we put in a low, unable to close below this low, therefore not making it a breaker structure. And we put in a high, and we finally broke structure at this level here with a candle close. So to me, that is my breaker structure. So technically, this is the range, right, from this high to this low, right, to go short. So, yeah, London, we had that huge displacement up. Like, there was no kind of like no slowing down, right? We just had a little small pause here, and then we continued up and up and up and up. And it's and like my bias was definitely going short, that's for sure. But buys flipped straight away as soon as the hourly closed above this high here, making it a market structure shift. So now order flow is now respecting the overall trend. So ideally, the trend should continue to take out these data highs up here and so on and so forth. But who knows? Price might even come out and take out almost these equal lows down here as we take in now all these low resistant liquidity here, and we did leave this kind of this resistance point here left. So we could even come out and take out these lows before continuing up the trend. But yeah, in the case of London session opening, we did have that huge push up, and with that, we did have, if I do pull it up, for factory, as you can see, around 11 we'd had some GBP news as I wanted to stay away from the 11 o'clock open. I wanted to get a trade in just for 2R as I know that price gets choppy around, 10 o'clock or even um, 9 o'clock, before, that those hours before these red folder news comes out. So with that in mind, as I mentioned before, we had that huge displacement from Asia. Our original POIs were this fair value gap here that was created on the move down, hourly fair value gap, and we also had this hourly order block, right? So once we pushed all the way through. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe price is looking to take out Asia highs as well as these hourly highs up here before closing back into the range again. But we did get that closure above strongly. Um, we did get that sweep above these hourly highs, but again, we did close above these highs, making it a market structure shift, and we closed very strongly. So um, I was just looking for a retracement back into now this breaker block here, because once we break through that zone, it now becomes a sort of resistance zone, right, or like a supply zone for buyers to kind of take charge back in again, you know. So for my POIs, we did have this breaker block here and this inversion, but ideally I did not want price to come back down into the inversion as we did print out on the move up these two big fair value gaps here. So I was just kind of looking for a play off these fair value gaps. So um, looking into, so once price inverted the zone, I knew that we're obviously coming in This gap didn't really mean anything because um, as it though it was an entry, again we did close above these highs and we were bullish, and we turned bullish. So ideally, this you're unable to. For my plans and my rules, I'm unable to take a trade off that following my bias. I'm not sure what that one is, but with that set in mind, the trade I took was using this fair value gap here. I did see this fair value gap down here as price could have come down to even tap this one, build up some kind of accumulation and manipulation, then distribution, but we did not get that at all. What we did get was a sweep of these 5 minute lows down here, and we get that displacement up again. So, um, with that, zooming into the 1 minute, I'm looking to see, where POI is looking to get respected, right? Um, I did mark out what I was kind of looking for. I wanted to see um, some sort of sweep, which is what we got on the 5 minute. Clearing out all the early buys. I tried buying into this fair value gap here. They would have put their stops below a candle, and they would have taken those early buys out. And into the 1 minute, I was looking for some form of displacement, right, which forms a fair value gap, because ideally in this range, we didn't really have any inverse to go off, so I wanted to see whether our fair value gaps get respected or not. So on the move up, we create a market structure shift. So now the 1 minute is now in line with the 5 minute overall and the 1 hour, which just turned bullish. And remember again that this 5 minute fair value gap is in this 1 hour breaker block, right? So now it's just about confirmation, right? So we had that market structure shift. And again, we did print a order block as well as a fair value gap. Um, I did want to see this fair value gap get respected, but again, it was just so small that price, especially on a 1 minute, could easily close below here and tap into this order block to continue up further. Uh, so in this case, I took the trade based on displacement out of this order block here, and this gap, um, which technically would be an inverse, right? Uh, Technically would be a inverse to go short, right? For like people trading on the second time frame or whatever. Um, but again, we hit this order block. We then inverse this gap again, so back to the upside. So now this gap doesn't really mean anything because we inversed it twice. But it's just a confluence for me to say like, hey, buyers are now kind of taking control of um, oh, buyers are now taking control of the zone, right? And kind of taking control of the market. As I see this huge push up, we create an order block, and we make an inversion, but we closed above it, and I entered around this candle closing up here, or this candle. It was super fast, but I entered on this candle opening here, which should be somewhere down here. Yep, so there. And my stops were below these lows down here. This tool says a 2.5, but I did take a 2R. I don't know. I think my spreads might have pushed me up a little bit, or not sure what it was, but it was a 2R trade, not a 2.5. And with that, we get that huge displacement out of it, and this is what I'm currently looking for when we're in bullish structure. We should be respecting bullish POIs now, which is what we got. This is kind of an extra confirmation here as we push down, and we had a huge work down, filling in this gap, also tapping into this order block here, and close bullish out of it. So um, that was a kind of a continuation trend there. And I was just targeting a 2R as it was kind of really nothing to target in terms of liquidity, as the liquidity draw for um, was, well, the next liquidity draw would have been up here at the data highs, but it's not really, you can't really reach that, especially within 2 sessions. But maybe, I mean, who knows? But I was just targeting a 2R. Um, Overall solid trade. Super patient with my entry and what I was looking for. Most people would have taken a buy off this fair value gap for continuation, but again, I was waiting for my high time frame POI to be tapped. Right, that is one of my requirements. And in that when price came down, what was in this breaker block here, this fair value gap that was made on the way up, breaking hourly structure, and using that and refining it with the 1 minute, I was able to catch a 2 hour move. We did chop up a little bit, but again, it was that displacement I was aiming for, and BE was set once price hit this area here, this line here. As we could sweep that and continue on to dump. So it's just a safety measure there, safety net. So once price hit this high, I went to BE. So my stops would have been zero, and so it's either the trade plays out um, or we take full profit. So that was the trade for today. I did take a trade on Euro USD, but I wasn't really confident with um, how price action was kind of playing out in these zones, right? So I um, I did enter a bit early on this. So with this trade here, I did see that again. It's kind of the same thing. We were bearish at first. We made a higher high. We made a low, unable to close below these lows. We made a small little high, and we break structure, right? So technically, this is the range. But ideally, it was good to see that price did close above these highs as well, as it would have been kind of confusing seeing like, hey, you know, um, seeing that hey, we close above these highs, but price could come and sweep out these highs, and then yeah, it'd be kind of technical there. But if you do want to put it like the actually, um, it is this actually, because this high isn't really considered a high. It would kind of be a pause in the market before we broke structure, and this was the previous low that was put in that higher high, and we made that higher low. So I was wrong about that. Trade. The idea was there though, just because we did break these highs with a counter close above. So this would be a market structure shift, not this. But ideally, my POIs coming into the day was this order block, as this order block has already been mitigated to what? To push price came up, used it, and used it to break structure. So what's the next one, right? This order block here. Draws on liquidity were these highs and these highs, but again, it didn't really matter because we did close above these highs. So now I am bullish for the day. It's kind of the same thing that happened on GU, but kind of same thing here. But I did see that we did make a low here, a kind of low resistance liquidity low. And what I was looking for was a sweep of these lows, right? Because I explained it before how we did close above these highs, but again, price can't just keep continuing to rip and rip and rip and rip. It needs to kind of rebalance itself. So what did we get, right? We got that sweep of internal into this fair value gap, and I'm kind of just looking for an entry of that. Um, we did not get a inverse over 5 minute because the 5 minute in fair value gap would have been here. And if price respects a fair value gap to continue on the trend, ideally this fair value gap shouldn't really mean anything, right? Um, so with that, yeah, we tap into this fair value gap. We take out these 5 minute lows down here, right? So okay, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Let me see an entry. Entry was So I was kind of just waiting for some form of displacement, right? Because ideally we want to break out of this range here. You don't want to be taking a trade in that because then price could either go two ways. So I was looking for some form of displacement on the 1 minute. Like I said, as we form a displacement, price should respect that that zone, um, those bullish um, POIs that we print if we are bullish when we turn bullish, especially breaking out of a range, right? So we get that breakout. I'm like, okay, cool. I need extra confirmation, right? Because we get that breakout, but price could easily come down and fill in this candle again. So I was looking to see how this fair value gap did. So I entered um, at the at when this candle was full. So you see how we made a wick there? So when this candle was full, I entered. So I was just keeping my eye on this POI, just making sure that it still hold because we did have an unmitigated order block, which is down here, and that was kind of the protection. Um, and also um, to see whether we get that close below it or not. We did not, and we start displacing up. But I didn't like how price came into this um, 5 minute inverse, right? And we start get some pushes down, right? We start to get some pushes down. But the mistake I made was seeing that on the way up to this inversion here, a fair value gap was created on the 5 minute, right? So what I should have done was I should have waited to see whether we respect this 5 minute fair value gap or not. If not, then that means we are coming down lower to take out these lows as there's nothing printed here. Um, there's no order blocks on the 5 minute just because we haven't broken structure yet. And so the only thing that was kind of there was this fair value gap. And as you can see, we did get that. We didn't close below it at all, and instead we displaced up. So this would have been a 1 to 2 as well, as again, there was kind of really nothing to target besides these data highs, which were up here. Um, so with that, this was the second trade. As again, I kind of lost confidence as we did hit this 5 minute inversion. Um, and plus, I was really managing this trade because I did get a really good entry on this trade. This trade was kind of late, but again, I wasn't really happy with how we came down. But again, we only came down to fill in this fair value gap to continue up higher. But again, by the time that even happened, I closed with like $10 profit or something like that. Um, but again, I should be realistically taking one trade a day, which I am going to do from now on. Again, because even though this was a winner, just um, just managing the risk is really important, right? I say that at the end of every video, and taking two trades like this, it could be easily, you could lose 2% really, really fast. Trading like this, and plus, I wasn't really happy with it. Even though this was a winning trade, I wasn't happy with, how we reacted from the zone. So I got out, protected my capital to manage the GU trade, which is ended up with a take profit all the way. So really happy with how I reacted. Like I said, even though Euro USD was a winner, um, I was happy with the results I got from GU, but also how I reacted from the zone, protecting my capital. And yeah, so GU was a 1 to 2, and EU was like $10 profit for the day. Stops were below these lows because again, on Euro USD, we did have a unmitigated order block, which was down here. That was created on the move up, which we reacted from this fair value gap. But just in case the 1 minute wanted to come out and take out these lows, tap into this order block to continue up further, our stops would be protected. So yeah, I think one thing I really noticed today was displacement, right? Displacement. Even though um, we had a little bit of displacement forming in here, but nothing really like breaking out the range, right? Because when we consolidate, we accumulate orders, we take out these lows to, it's enough to push price, to break out of this range. So that's one thing I'm gonna keep in mind for tomorrow, and so forth is displacement. Displacement's a keyword, key thing in trading. You need displacement to trade, and yeah. So $10 profit on Euro USD. GU was a full 1 to 2. Um, Happy with how I reacted and how I stuck to my plan there. Even Euro USD as well came back and tapped into a high time frame POI, which in this case was not the order block but the breaker block. We also had this inversion. This would have been an inversion here. So price could have easily came down and filled these out more, but depending on price and what it wants to do, we only can only move from what the market wants to do. So um, yeah, happy with the result. A winning day today, so happy with that. Um, and this is a reminder too to always check news, right? There's days where you might be trading in a bank holiday, right? So you see a lot of orders that are being filled really, really quickly, and it's constantly sweeping out highs and lows and highs and lows and goes up, really, really high and then comes down really fast. And things like that are really important in trading because the way we trade are based on banks and instant insta whatever. But our trading is based on the banks and momentum and price holding certain key areas and points, right? So um, that's really important that you check news to see what we had before. As I mentioned before, I did want a quick trade as we did have um, GBP red folder news as well as um, unemployment um, unemployment claims, which is a kind of manipulating factor when it comes to prices. Price likes to manipulate when it comes to red folder days. So yeah, so happy with the trade today. Yeah, and I followed my rules, followed my plan. That's the key point there. Follow my plan. But one thing I will point out is I do um, want to see, for next time, that displacement on the 1 minute, breaking out of a range, with momentum and, really strong kind of buying force. And I want to see those bullish PYs be respected, right? So this is something I'll point out next time and keep in mind next time. And yeah, hope you guys won today, and I hope you guys have a great, great night. Um, just wanted to say good luck to my girl tomorrow. She has a test at uni, and she'll do well. I know she will. But I want to do a big shout out to her. She's keeping me going, keeping me strong. Always asking me questions about what I'm doing and what is this and what is a fair value gap, what is an order block. So shout out to her. I love her so much. And yeah, she will do well tomorrow. But if you're seeing this video, which you'll see after the exam, I um, I just want to say that I know you did well. And if you see this video before your exam, I just want to wish you luck for your exam tomorrow. You'll kill it as you always do. And I'm so, so proud of you. So, with that said and done, I just want to say good night, team. Hope you guys have a good one. Stay safe, risk manage, and keep it pushing, man. Keep a P, keep a P. You know what I mean? Shout out Ghana, man. Shout out Ghana. All right, I'll see you guys later.